Hello there, welcome to ObaNutrition channel. In today's episode, I'll be talking about pre-diabetes. What is pre-diabetes, cause of pre-diabetes, signs and symptoms of pre-diabetes, and last but not least, preventive and treatment measures of pre-diabetes using nutrition. So to get us started off, what is pre-diabetes? Pre-diabetes is a condition in which you have elevated blood sugars above normal. However, they're not critically high at which you can be diagnosed as having diabetes. So basically, you're in between the stage at which you have normal blood sugars and the stage in which your sugars are so high that you'll be diagnosed as diabetic. So you're in that middle stage. You're just there in the middle, and that is a risky point to be at, because if you're at that stage, you're very likely to get to the diabetic stage, which is not good. So it's better to watch this video till to the end to be able to find out how you can be able to get back to the stage at which you normally have normal blood sugars. So which test is used to diagnose pre-diabetes? We normally use the fasting blood sugars. The fasting blood sugars, they are very ideal because these are sugars that are taken at least 8 hours after your last meal. Alright, so it's mostly taken in the morning before you have had your breakfast. Why is it taken in the morning before you have had your breakfast? It's because we assume at night that you are asleep for at least 8 hours and you never had anything to eat. So by the time it's morning, we expect that your blood sugars have already dropped back to normal, and if they're because of the action of insulin. All right, and if you're having insulin sensitivity, they will definitely drop back to normal. If you're having insulin resistance, they will still remain high because your insulin is not functionally normally. And in another separate video, I'll discuss what is insulin resistance. But for this video, if you're having insulin resistance and you are at that pre-diabetic stage, your blood sugars will normally be between 5.6 to 7 mmol per liter. So for the normal blood sugars, it's between 4 to 5.6. For the diabetic stage, is always above 7. That is for fasting blood sugars. Okay, so you can take this test in the morning, 8 hours after you have had your last meal of the day. So let's say you had your supper at 8 p.m. So you'll take it obviously in the morning when you're waking up, let's say at around 7 p.m. If you have a glucometer strips, you have a precast and the glucometer device itself. So that's an easy test that you can take. So after discussing that, what are some of the signs and symptoms of pre-diabetes? The first sign and symptom of pre-diabetes is normally you'll have food cravings. You're having food cravings, reason being because you have insulin resistance. You're never satisfied, okay? You're always craving for the next meal. All right, you can have a meal at 1 p.m. but at 4 p.m. you're craving to have maybe soda. All right, you're constantly having these food cravings. You're never satisfied. Another sign is a fat tummy. Why a fat tummy? When you're having a fat tummy, it means your liver also is a fatty. You have a fatty liver, and when you're having a fatty liver, it means you're not able to also regulate your blood sugars normally, because remember one thing, the pancreas produces the insulin, however the blood sugars are regulated in the liver. All right, another sign is frequent urination at night. You're always urinating at night. Why are you urinating at night? Remember, at night you are at rest, okay, and your sugars are always chronically high because you have already had supper, you're not exercising or doing anything. So when that chronically high, what your body will do is try to reduce those blood sugars back to normal. And remember, for you to remove sugar, you always need a lot of water, okay? So you'll always have these frequent urinations at night, and sometimes this urine can have sugar in it. It can have glucose. If a test is taken, it can have glucose in it because you're trying to remove the excess sugar because your insulin is failing. The other one is feeling hungry all the time. You're always having this, you're always never satisfied with food. All right, you can have 5 chapatis in the morning and still during lunchtime you'll have another 5 and still want others more. Another one is memory fogs, and memory fogs is a warning sign, a serious warning sign. Memory fogs occur where you're not able to remember things very well. For example, you might be able to remember what someone told you a few minutes ago. You're like, what were you saying? Or like, what was I saying? So when you're having such signs and symptoms, it's normally a sign that you are pre-diabetic, and also your brain is also getting damage from the high sugars, level of blood sugars. Another one is emotional tantrums. What emotional tantrums? When you're having elevated blood sugars, you're also having your stress levels are also not being able to be managed well, and especially when food is around, you cannot be able to stand when food is delayed. You're always wanting to have meal if while food is still cooking even at times, or which is very unfortunate because it's embarrassing obviously. So what are the causes of prediabetes? The first cause of prediabetes is obviously a high intake of carbohydrates, especially the processed ones. And what are carbohydrates? Carbohydrates include sugars, they include starches, and when you're having the processed ones, one, they lack fiber, and the processed ones, I can give examples. For example, the processed ones, you have bread, cakes, you also have scones, pizza, you also have soda, juices, alcohol especially. You also have sugar in your tea, the table sugar. So that is normally the cause of pre-diabetes. Sugar basically, and the refined carbohydrates. Not all carbohydrates, but the refined carbohydrates especially. And especially if your consumption is at a very high level. So how can we prevent or treat pre-diabetes? The first prevention measure is obviously correcting the cause. The cause was consuming a high carb diet. So we have to go on a low carb diet. And also this low carb diet has to be combined with unrefined carbohydrates. So this is time to look for the sweet potatoes, to look for the sweet potatoes, some will say they have some sugar, though they are unrefined, which is a good option rather than having the bread. The other one is the arrowroots, the cassavas, the pumpkins, the green bananas. Those are good options of unrefined carbohydrates. Even the brown ugali for Kenyans and Ugandans and Tanzanians. Another option is the low carb diet, which I was talking about, which will follow up in the second one. Consuming plenty of vegetables. Vegetables are very low in carbs, very, very low. It's hard to get a vegetable that has above 10 grams of carbohydrates per 100 grams. So vegetables are very ideal, especially vegetables such as pumpkin. These are very low in sugar, very, very low in sugar. The other advantage of vegetables, they also have vitamin C. And also their vitamin C is also absorbable or bioavailable because they are low in sugar, unlike the fruits. Because when you are having vitamin C together with sugar, it's harder to absorb vitamin C in presence of sugar. But vegetables are very ideal because they are low in sugar, hence their vitamin C is more bioavailable. The other advantage of vegetables, they also have potassium. Potassium is very essential, very, very essential in getting the sugar into your cells. And when sugar gets into your cells is when you can use this sugar for energy, like for running and etc. So you need vegetables for that potassium. The other advantage of vegetables, they also have fiber. Fiber helps in reducing the rate at which sugar gets into blood. Therefore, there will not be those spikes in insulin or those spikes in blood sugar levels. The third one is practicing intermittent fasting. And intermittent fasting, a simple model, so many people think intermittent fasting is about fasting the whole day, but a simple model to begin with is eating 12 hours during the day, which is only 3 meals. That means you have a 12-hour eating window. Let's say your last meal of the day was at 7 a.m. and your last meal is at 7 p.m. Between 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. in the morning, you basically not eat anything. That is at night. You are at fasting. In the morning, you'll have your next meal. And it's only 3 meals in a day: breakfast, lunch, and supper. No snacks in between. Also, another good thing with intermittent fasting is that it increases insulin sensitivity. That means when you're insulin sensitive, it means you'll not always have these constant spikes in your blood sugars, and that will prevent diabetes. The fourth one is low intensity exercises. Low intensity exercises, especially after having large meals. Okay, so let's say you have had a large meal, it was a festive celebration. Always have this time at which you can walk around, also do some activities like washing utensils. These low intensity activities help in providing that energy, which will not lead to spiking in sugars because they're not being utilized for energy. All right, but that doesn't mean that you have to always eat large. You have to always eat aimlessly and then you exercise. That is not good. This is just an activity that you can be doing, especially when you have had these large meals. However, it's good to always ensure that your diet is in check. The last one is plenty of sleep. Sleep is very essential, especially in producing the leptin hormone. There are two types of hormones that are regulated during sleep. We have the leptin and ghrelin. Leptin is a satisfactory hormone. Ghrelin is a hunger hormone. So when you're having poor sleep, you'll always have hunger. You'll always have these hunger pangs. Why? Because your ghrelin levels are always high. But when you're asleep, the leptin hormone is always produced, which promotes satisfaction, and that is essential in regulating the number of times you eat and the food cravings. So thank you everyone for watching this video, and may you be blessed, and you can share it with a friend, and another friend will share with another friend. Thank you.